Actually, Sinclair Sexsmith is next. Is that all right with you? Awesome. And then Hannalena, are you comfortable with us taking a 5-minute break before we come back and gather for you? Okay, sweet. I'm gonna read this bio and get you ready for Sinclair Sexsmith. Would you prefer that that's the name we're using? Can I use Sugar Butch too? Or is that just the name of your blog, really? Or your
That's just the name of the site, yeah.
Okay, so. Mr. Sexsmith, that works? I think I saw somewhere too.
Yeah, that's pretty much the handle everywhere on like Twitter and everything else.
Okay, here we are. Sinclair Sexsmith, they, them, is the best known butch erotica writer whose kinky, groundbreaking stories have turned on countless queers. Who is in all the books, wins all the awards, speaks at all the panels and readings, knows all the stuff, and writes for all the places. Their short story collection, Sweet and Rough, Queer Kink Erotica, was a 2016 finalist for the Lambda Literary Award. And they are the current editor of the Best Lesbian Erotica series. How grateful are we for your work curating that series? Find more of their work at sugarbutch.net. And the personal note I will add here is that I hope my co-host will drop the link to sugarbutch.net over in the chat. And if you haven't been over there, oh, you're in for a treat tonight. You'll be staying up late. So budget in a little time to get lost in their wonderful website. Thank you for saying yes to a total stranger. I wrote you out of the blue after I discovered you because I was so swoony. Oh my God. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to have the eggs to just write to this person and maybe they will get some sort of wild hair up their ass to say yes. And you did. And you made my day because you don't know me. I've been pestering these other folks for a while. You took a chance. So thank you for being here. We're very excited to witness what you have for us.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you everybody for coming. So many of your names I recognize, and yeah, I'm excited to read. I don't get to read a lot of things that I don't create and like produce myself. So it's really nice when someone else does it, and I get to like listen to everybody too. I love that. It makes me so happy. And I really miss readings. I mean, you all probably are bookstore people like me, but I really miss not being able to just stop by for a reading or go to the bar for a reading or wherever the reading is, community center. I miss it. So it's felt really good. I have the most recent edition of Best Lesbian Erotica. It looks like this, and it came out in December. And so we've done a couple readings for it in the last couple months, which has been super fun. And I've been kind of surprised how it actually feels connective, and I actually can see people's responses and as you're reading, and it feels like I'm in kinky queer space, and it makes me so happy. So anyway, so thank you for coming. So I'm going to read you some stuff and some more stuff, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. Oh, and I have to run into my other room to grab this. I'm sheltering in place at my mom's house, which is where I grew up, and the house I grew up in, and my partner and I are going to refinish her floors, kind of for quarantine fun, I guess. I don't know why, because it needs doing. And so we've just emptied out all these bookshelves behind me, and of course I found multiple publications of mine from like college, one of which was called Penitalia, Collegiate Erotica at the University of Washington, that was published in 2004. And so there's a piece in there that I wrote, and it's kind of fun. So I'll read a little bit of that to you later. I'll go grab it in a second. But meanwhile, we're gonna start with, I actually haven't read it all the way through, so I'm not really sure how embarrassing it is. You will, I guess, learn with me how embarrassing it is. That might be a terrible idea, but I'm gonna make it happen. Okay, finding my piece here. This is called Whatever I Want, Whatever I Say. And this
Sinclair,
yeah.
I realized we forgot a step. We didn't ask if you wanted to be recorded, but it looks like my co-host assumed you wanted to be. So is that all right with you?
Great. Yeah, recording is great. Thank you.
Okay, lovely.
Great. All the better. Thanks for interrupting, but no problem. That sounds good. Okay, Whatever I Want, Whatever I Say. This came from like 2 GIFs on Tumblr that were called, one was like with the dialogue in them, and someday I'm gonna have to put that on maybe I should put it on the Sugar Butch page for this book or something, just be like a little Easter egg. Okay. Content for this, mostly it's like dominance, submission, force. I think that the character, the femme in the story, is on loan from her owner, so there's some like ownership fetish happening in this story as well. And there's like discussion of, violence and hurting someone else quite a lot. But it's more the thinking about it than the doing of the thing. But I'll just give you a heads up. Okay. I'm going to do whatever I want. By now I have my hand over her mouth. My arm is pressed up against the plaster wall. The paint is scratchy and the plaster is cold. The curves of her hips, ass, ribs against my body are warm. And you're going to do whatever I say. Look, I'm not stupid. I know there are limits to what I can do with her. What I negotiated with her owner a few nights ago, we went over all kinds of things I could feasibly see myself doing and some things that probably would never cross my mind. Although they did give me some good ideas, so maybe I will. Her owner laughed when we started negotiating. Honestly, I can't imagine anything you would do that would be over the line. That's very generous, I replied, smiling. I didn't want to take that as a dare, but it was hard not to. We laid out everything we could think of and made it all clear. She whimpers under the palm of my hand. Her hair is caught at my wrist, probably in my watch band. I might rip it if I move too quickly. I want to go slowly. I don't want her to rip. I want her to open. I lick my lips. She watches me. She keeps arching her back and rubbing her ass into my thighs. I wonder if she even notices she's doing that. I reach under the loose knee-length wrap dress to trace my way up her thighs. I savor the feeling of fishnets on my skin. The pads of my fingers fit perfectly into one of the little holes, and when I press just a little on her skin, I can feel how it dips inside of it, how easily I could hook my finger in, how easily I could tear away at the thin, delicate fabric. Just pressing my fingers there is threat enough. She makes a sound that is half of a whimper and half of a moan, muffled by her hand. Her lips are open and she's almost sucking. I can feel her teeth. She won't bite me, though her jaw is a threat. The straps of her garter belt are pulling at the raw top of her fishnets. I can feel the strain. They aren't going to last much longer. My breathing gets shallow and faster. I want to tear, rip, split apart, shatter. I want that moment when the pounding against her is what forces the sound from her mouth. I did promise I wouldn't break her. It was a joke at the time. She isn't wearing panties underneath anymore. She handed them to me after she walked in the door, one hand on the door frame to steady herself while she peeled them over her delicate T-strap heels. She knew the protocol. I promised myself I would fuck her mouth before I touched her pussy, before I made her feel good. I promised myself I would focus on my pleasure and her service. But when I think about feeling her wetness on my fingers, I feel the tension ratchet up and up and up. I want to feel her stretch open. I want to shove my fingers in her mouth with her juices all over them and feel her open her throat. Slow, I tell myself. Go slow. The faintest finger on her velvet lips. She whines a sweet noise, a long high note from her throat. Shut up, I whisper. My lips are touching her earlobe. You're mine tonight, just for tonight. Aren't you lucky? She swallows whatever cry was going to come out of her next. I feel the folds of her. She's not bare. Her hair is short and thin, feels impossibly dry, and I try to not think about sinking my finger into the slick of her. What am I gonna do with you? I slide my lips to her neck to suck, to kiss. I taste her skin, the sweat of her, and the sweet. She arches her neck, rolling her head back on my shoulder, offering herself up. My fingers find it, the spot I was looking for, where she is pouring, where she is waiting for me. I wonder how long I can wait. I wonder how cliche it is to want to stop and strap on and fuck her. I let the wetness coat the tip of my finger, but only that. I don't put it inside. I pull it away, tighten my grip around her chest, and heave her toward the bed. She stumbles slightly and catches herself. I grab her ankles, one with each hand, pushing her up on the bed, twisting her legs. She turns over onto her back. Her eyes flash a little fear, a lot of arousal. She bites her lip, unsure if she can speak yet, unsure if she can form words. In a breath, I whip my belt from my jeans, slide the end back through the buckle, loop it around her wrists. It'll do. I wrap the end in my fist, pull it above her head, push between her thighs. She reaches for me. She looks at me, pleading. She wants. I want to slide in. Her pussy is making a wet spot on my jeans. I want there to be something I can feel, ready for her to take. I want the nerve endings. Instead, I have this, the color of my flesh, supple, flexible, on demand. I pull the buttons of my fly and they open. It's easy to heave forward the swell of me. She moans right away with thick breaths and pressing hips, and turns her head to bite her upper arm. Her lip catches and turns out. The pink of her is showing. I rub the head against her cunt, the whole of it slick. It almost slides in just by touching. She's an invitation, an open door. Come inside. Just because I'm going to fill you with cum doesn't mean we're done tonight. I growl above her. She glances at me sideways and lowers her eyes. She didn't think this would be it, did she? Yes, sir, she whispers. She steals a glance at me again to check my face and see if her words please me. I will do whatever you say. Place in my core liquefies and filling a void that is needed soothing. That is what I needed to hear. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I do want to read you that Collegiate Erotica piece too. So I'm going to stop, but there's like one more page or maybe two. So that's here in this book. Ooh, that's so fun to read. And I usually cut myself off a little sooner. So thanks for listening. Wow, so many comments. I can't even read them all because there's so many. Okay, what am I going to read next?
I think you've got time to finish it because Joe took a little less time, and I think we're all kind of, I'm speaking for myself here. I want more. There's
going to be more. It's just a different piece. A different piece. I like to leave you wanting more. That's my whole strategy. Let's see here. Let's try to find that poem that I wanted, and I don't know if I found it earlier. Okay, let's read one from Sugar Butch, and I'll put it in the link after in the chat after, so you can have the link to it. And this is called Touch, Devour, Swallow, and it's kind of in the same veins as far as content warning goes. Lots of threat and DS and less actual content, lots of internal thinking, but lots of threat and DS. One of my big hands holding your wrists together. A pause while I whip the belt out of your belt loops, then weave the leather around your wrists and tighten. It isn't hard. You don't struggle. You want this. You want to be bound. You want the freedom that comes with restriction. There's nothing for you to do but be right where you are. There is nothing for me to do but be right where I am. One hand gently holding the belt against the wall, one hand touching softly, trailing my fingers, exploring, slow. Not cruel. Not yet. You look at me with pleading eyes. Your lips are bright. Your eyes are soft from that place of surrender. You want me to kiss you, and I want to deny you what you want, so I don't. You want me to feel that ache that comes rushing in when I take everything else away. I want to devour your attention. I hold the back of your head, thumb your neck. I feel your jawbone move as you swallow. My mouth waters and I want to suck you deep. I slide my fingers over your lips, press your cheek to the wall. This is the moment. More than the pounding wrath of my lust or my greed, this soft part where you are open and trusting, and I'm just about to fall down the crevasse where permission meets skill, and I lose myself, but find someone I'd much rather be. This is the moment I meet you anew and we remind each other who we are. But I long to kiss you every minute that I don't, so I spit at you instead, mark you, claim you. You wince, but you want all the parts of me that touch you. I want all the parts of you. Give me the small, soft ones, the solid ones, the ones that will never break, the ones that have never been anything but broken. They aren't mine, but I'll put each to bed, to pillows and furs and spice rose tea and white flannel sheets and the moon, and you can tend them when you're ready. On the good days, I put mine to bed too. I get lost in the desire stalking me like a lion when I get this close and restrain myself, hoping to follow my own plan. I get lost when I have to be out in the world making meaning, making do, making sense. So I keep coming here to us, to this, where I do make sense, where I'm not the monster inside, where you meet the monster inside and bow in reverence and ask for more. I unclip the flogger from my hip and feel the weight of it in my hand like a friend, like my shaft hard in my hand that falls like a gown made for me, worn at all my transformative life events. I swing it once and twice. The heat roars up and shakes something under my heart loose and starts to crumble. Before you take my first blows, I lean in, lips touching, not kissing. You are so good, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Flip the light off in your office before you knew I was there. You'd push your chair back and look up and turn, and I'd catch your mouth with mine and pull your hair saying, sorry, struggle, baby. You know I like it when you struggle. You push me back then with the palm of your hand in the soft of my throat and ask, what are you doing here? What are you doing? Well, you. I pull you onto your feet by your shirt and kiss you gentle for now, and I'll let that go on for a while. I'm not all force. I get lost in the petals of your mouth as easily as I ever have. I'm trying so hard not to laugh at 17 years ago me. This is 2004, and I'm not laughing. I'm also like, oh my God, look how far we've come, right? Like everything I do is like to redeem my 14-year-old or my 22-year-old, and so I love it, and I'm also gonna keep giggling a little bit. All right, here we go. You even get into it enough to reach for my dick through my jeans, but I push your hand away, grab your wrist, bite your bottom lip. Do you want something? You look down, ashamed, or maybe examining the bulge and trying to guess which color and which size I'd chosen that morning. I sit in your chair and lean back. Down, I say, on your knees. Your lower lip is already trembling. By the way you're opening your mouth, I can tell your tongue is swelling. Maybe it would surprise you right as you took it into your mouth. The girth opens your throat, but you remember the feeling of fullness and your cunt opens wider so your mouth can take it. You work the tight muscles of your cheeks, your tongue, your throat with your fingers closing fist around the width. You slide your mouth down the length of it, down the thick size of it, swallow it, suck it like your breath when you're surprised. Would you be surprised when I weave my fingers through your hair? Would you gag and cringe as I press it down just a little further? Would you grab for my fingers and push them away, or would you resist, press the back of your head into the palm of my hand and open to me? The table, I say, and pull out, leaving you tongue limp, empty and wanting. Put your elbows on the table. It would probably humiliate you just a little to be bent over your desk. This is your office after all, but probably you want to be spanked secretly, but we're running out of time and all I can think of is your pink lips crushed under the thrust of me. I want to slide inside you and curl around the pulsing jewel of your heart, your spine, the red of your blood, the salmon of your muscles. Swallow me slow, swallow me whole, while I cradle your ribcage and bite your shoulder. You kiss me, slide down my throat to radiate from the core of me and button your jeans. Damn, you say, you keep forgetting to lock the door. That's the end. All right, that's not as bad as I was expecting. I wasn't really sure what to expect. Okay, I think I'm probably right about at the end of my time. can I take 2 minutes to read a little tiny bit more from this one? Okay. I want to offer you random page numbers. So give me any random page number in this book and I will read that one page, and we'll do maybe 3 of them or something. Usually it's about a minute a page. Oh, okay. 69. Yes, that's always the first one. 22 and 17. We'll just do that. 69. This is from page 2 of the piece by June Amelia Rose that is called Torrent and Tumult. And it's more thinky than sexy at the moment, but it does get like to be a very sexy scene. Okay, my body has an addiction to the swings of tumultuous emotions. You were born with rivers of fire inside you, my mother said to me once during a crying fit while I was trying to bite my own tongue out of my mouth. You have the strength and the sadness to be calm. You have the drive to accomplish anything. She didn't know then how apt those words would become on the eve of my diagnosis 20 years later, when the key clicked into the lock as my therapist spoke the litany to me in a divine tongue. Bipolar 1 with features of mixed episodes, rapid cycling, and melancholia. They unfurled like the secrets of my family's jewelry chest, a genetic rich inheritance of chemical imbalance cooked up in a pressure cooker of psychological trauma. Torrent and tumult, then calm drops on a drooping, dying lotus flower. That was how I lived for most of my life. I would stir and then still. I would start and then freeze. Emotions were like another language to me. I was a foreigner to emotional stability. You can only live for so many years with a deficiency in relating to other people until other people's lives start to blow up too. I think I lost every friend and every relationship I ever had, all to a mood spoken in words I didn't understand. At a certain point, a change needed to come. The way out is through. And her piece talks a lot about using BDSM and the kind of queer desire as part of her work with her mental illness. It's a beautiful piece. I really like it when there's sex on every page, though. Next time I'm going to make sure the page 69 is sexy. All right, Alicia, page 22. Okay, this is right from the My Story, the one I just read for you. And actually, I already read that page. So let's see if I can find where I stopped. Then I'll read. Okay, I'll read the rest of that page. I let go of the belt and stand. Is she trembling? Her wrap dress is a mess falling off of her. I reach for one end of the fabric belt of it and tug, and the bow dissolves. One side of the dress spills back, exposing the skin of her stomach, the curves of her plush body, the curl of her breasts. Open your legs. Her face goes tight around the eyes, but she does. Her knees butterfly open. She slides her feet apart. My thighs are inside of hers, touching. I can feel the scrape of her tights when she moves. I want the indentation on my skin, want to feel the pinch and burn of it. She has the expression of a woman who has readied herself to be entered. She knows she may or may not like it. She knows she may or may not come. She knows it isn't for her. She knows who it is for. She knows what she is for, and right now she's a plaything her owner loaned out. She's a toy her owner is showing off. Okay, last page, 17. Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is from a story called On a Hot and Humid Night by Mix, Nill, and Lauren. If you don't know Nillan, they write on I think it's nillandnow.com, is that right? But anyway, I'd have to look it up. I'll put it in the chat for you, but they have a sex blog that's really fantastic. And this is a great example of their work. I love their work. Okay. I think, it's actually kind of toward the end. I don't know how much you need to know, except that they're having a threesome. And there's 3 people. There's, Max and Kate and the narrator. That'll be obvious pretty quickly, as you can imagine. And with that, Max, Kate, and I finally enter the dense brush of the park and make our way through to a small clearing right near a wooden storage shed that we had spotted from our scouting efforts earlier. Max is first to make a move, letting out a lustful growl, standing over to Kate, grabbing her by the hips, pulling her firmly into their own body so briskly that it barely gives her enough time to let out a lustful moan, kissing her deeply. With Max's tongue still in her mouth and her eyes closed, Kate reaches back into the dark for me. Her hand opens and closes frantically in search of anything she can grab, moaning at her grasp on the neckline of my dress. She yanks me over with such fervor that I almost trip into the two of them. Max is strong and firm, though, and keeps us steady, despite my stumbling entrance. The two stop kissing and Kate looks into my eyes. I can see the wet on her lips glistening in the moonlight, and all I crave is to feel my own press against them. I run one hand along the side of her face up into her hair, then finally kiss her myself. It feels both electric and magnetic, so overwhelmingly good that I instinctively close my eyes to truly savor the moment. It takes me a bit to realize that our huddled embrace has started to rock with some intensity I know isn't coming from any wind. I open my eyes to see Max's face, filled with pleasure, and now cradled between Kate's neck and shoulder. Kate's hand is buried out of sight between her thick thighs, and I know that Max is lost in fucking her fingers. Kate smiles at me and reaches up under my dress too, finding my girl cock now dripping with pre-cum, and moans as she uses the lube to lube up her palm around my pulsating head before she starts to firmly stroke me with her own wet fingers. Max and I can't be the only ones feeling this good. I reach up under Kate's hoodie to caress her stomach, then slide my palms down under the band of her booty shorts. I quickly find her clit, already swollen, warm, hungry for my touch. Oh, that's the end of the page. I flipped the page. I cheated. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put the link to this one in the chat, and thank you for listening. I'm really looking forward to hearing you all read. And yeah, thank you. Thanks, Tina, for having me. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. That was
Amazing.